Here's a challenge for you. See how quickly you can get visible smoke from your chimney to clear after lighting your fire. I'll show you how I did shortly, but first, here's how I operate my wood heater to minimise smoke. I've learnt some tricks and tips from people. If you've got any to add, please comment in the video below. I'd definitely be interested to hear. What I found is just like basically not skimping on the amount of newspaper that I use, splitting the kindling as small as I can be bothered and not skimping on that. You use plenty of it. Pine cones, I got a big bag of pine cones off the side of the road just south of Margate for a good price. Definitely recommend that. And then on top I'll chuck some, not logs, they're still cut pretty small so that they again will catch quickly. Actually, my number one tip is once I got the fire lit, going outside often and just like ducking my head out and seeing how much smoke is coming out of the flue. And from doing that regularly, like looking at what the fire's doing and then going out and seeing what the flue is doing, I've come to understand, when it's smoky and when it's not, and what I can do here inside operating the wood heater to get rid of that visible smelly smoke. One of the best tips is to keep a couple of bits of newspaper for the end and put them on top of all of the set fire. And what that does is, they'll catch and burn really quickly and heat up the flue, and that will help to draw air through the fire and get it going more quickly. I always notice that at the front of the fire, that's like the last bit to get really hot. So I'll put those larger bits up the back so that they catch fire properly. All right. Of course, I've got the air vent open as much as possible. And I won't close the door fully yet, I'll just leave it slightly ajar so that it's got plenty of air being drawn in. You've probably heard that big whoosh to begin with those couple of bits of paper on top and the ticking of the metal expanding in the flue. So that's already getting a good draw. And looks like we're getting a bit of fire underneath now. So hopefully that's going to catch quickly, and the amount of that visible smelly smoke that comes out of the flue won't last for too long. It's unavoidable to have a bit of smoke when you first start the fire up, but hopefully we can get that as clear as quickly as possible. That's going pretty well now. I'm going to close the door. Of course, that's important to do before I walk away from it. I don't want logs rolling out. I'd say right now, I haven't had a look outside. You'll be able to see it because I've got another camera focusing on the flue. But I reckon by now there'd still be just a tiny bit of visible smoke, but not much. And that's still going to take another few minutes before that last bit of visible smoke completely disappears. So if there's still any smoke coming out of the chimney now, it's probably because of a couple of pieces at the front here that aren't fully up to temperature. And so there's going to be some smoke coming off here, and it's just a question of whether, as that smoke is drawn over around the baffle plate, whether or not that smoke burns. If it doesn't, then there's going to be still a little bit coming out of the flue. So in a sec, when I add some wood to it, I'll just bump that piece in to make sure that it's fully in the coals there. Which I'm definitely tempted to add more wood now, but it's going fine. I can still hear the ticking of the metal, which means it's expanding. So it's obviously still getting hotter. So there's actually not a great need to throw on more wood straight away. So I'm just gonna leave it a little bit longer, maybe another minute or two, and then I'll throw on some more logs. In addition to the startup phase, once you've got it cranking, it's important each time you add wood to make sure that those new bits of wood get up to temperature quickly, because again, they will smoke if they don't. So push that bit in. Quickly throw a few more pieces on. Make sure there's good airflow around them. And then close it back up. I'm just going to leave the door just slightly ajar for a bit, just to really let the air through to catch those new pieces of light quickly, and then I'll close it up and walk away. So yes, I can see just a tiny bit of smoke coming out of the flue now that I've added those new bits, but that should clear pretty quickly because the wood heater's very hot. All right, the fire's been going for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes now, and there hasn't been any visible smoke from the flue for about 10 minutes. And you'll notice that I've still got the air supply fully opened. That's important to keep it open so until the wood heater gets like really up to temperature, and only about now, when I've got a good set of red hot coals going, will I turn it down. The other important thing is once this burns down a bit and I go to add new logs, I'll open that air supply all the way up for another 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes to get those logs fully hot again before I restrict the airflow again. So that's really important. I'm not an expert in this. I'm probably talking as if I know everything about it, but I don't. This is just what I've learned through trial and error and through getting a few tips and tricks from other people. But I look forward to hearing in the comments how I've done it all wrong, and hearing your advice on how I can do it better. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon. Until then, stay snug and breathe easy.